And now please welcome our next presenter. It's Oklahoma's 25th governor and a member of the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. Please welcome Frank Keating.
Well, I'm not going to sing. And isn't Vince wonderful? Some of you may remember that Vince Gill and Amy Grant were our MCs and fabulous entertainers when we finished America's last Capitol building and put the dome on the Capitol. So they've been glorious friends of ours for a long time. Very special. Well, I've known my friend Tom Cole for years. His wonderful mother, Helen, served with me in the state Senate. Tom has done it all, but all was done in a spirit of humility, goodness, kindness, and a fierce focus for the facts. He was my campaign consultant when I made the then fully hazardous and silly decision to run for governor. Later, he assisted all of us, Democrats and Republicans alike, to recharge Oklahoma with good policy and an uncompromising focus on getting things done. Occasionally, he could even be diplomatic. Late in my two-term governorship, he swept into my office with the announcement of my political benediction. "I have good news and bad news," he stated. "Well, give me the good news," I insisted. "Keating is the most popular political name in Oklahoma," he announced. "Well then, there can't be any bad news," I ecstatically interjected. "Well, there is. You're not the Keating, your wife is." A Fulbright Fellow, a proud Chickasaw, an athlete, a scholar, a leader, a marvelous human being, Tom Cole, my friend, a man for every season. Roll the video.
A fifth-generation Oklahoman, Tom Cole was born at Barksdale Air Force Base. The youngest of two born to Helen and John Cole, the family relocated to multiple Air Force bases before settling in Moore, where Cole was an all-conference offensive guard for the Moore Lions and student council president. He enrolled at Iowa's Grinnell College, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts degree before graduating with his master's from Yale University and PhD from the University of Oklahoma. At Grinnell, he was starting defensive end his senior year and married Ellen Decker on graduation day. In 1982, the Coles welcomed their son, Mason John Cole, and settled into family life. From the start, Cole knew he wanted to raise his son in Moore. Whether with his dad at the Oklahoma State Capitol or playing in the backyard, Mason has always been Cole's most ardent supporter. His dad is his hero. In 2013, following the May 20th tornadoes, Cole immediately returned home.
Have you even begun to try to figure out what kind of money it's going to take to rebuild this community?
It's early, you know, and the first thing you got to do is focus on the people, obviously the folks that lost family and friends and homes, and make sure they're taken care of, and that's underway. You know, the larger damage assessment will a little bit longer, but it's going to be, you know, very serious. I think probably, you know, in '99, the F5 was on the ground longer and affected more air. Clearly, we're going to need some help, and I'm sure it'll be forthcoming.
Back in January, you did something that a lot of your Republican colleagues did not do. You supported that bill for federal assistance, money for the victims of Hurricane Sandy. Was part of your vote on that issue because in the back of your mind, you were thinking about your community knowing that it was vulnerable to Mother Nature?
It was. I actually told a colleague at the time, I said, you know, you have to remember, he asked me why you're voting this way, and I said, look, you're from Oklahoma, you're one tornado away from being Joplin, Missouri. And so I was Secretary of State here in the Oklahoma City bombing. I believe, you know, when you have a disaster, yes, you want to be prudent, and I applaud my colleagues for trying to do that and do it the right way. There are ways to do it, but you immediately help the people in the affected areas.
As state chairman of Oklahoma's Republican Party, Cole met with Presidents Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush. His successful state Senate campaign in 1988 launched Cole's political career. Today, he is widely regarded and respected as one of the GOP's top political strategists. In Oklahoma, Cole served as Secretary of State in the administration of Governor Frank Keating and led the effort that secured federal funds following the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in 1995. Currently serving his 8th term in the United States Congress, Cole is an advocate for taxpayers and small business, a proponent for a strong national defense, and a leader in promoting biomedical research. He serves on the House Appropriations Committee as chairman of the Labor, Health and Human Services Education and Subcommittee, on the subcommittees for Defense and Interior Appropriations, as vice chair of the House Committee on Rules, as the senior appropriator on the House Budget Committee panel, and as a deputy whip for the Republican Conference. Cole has also served as executive director and chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee and Chief of Staff for the Republican National Committee, an enrolled member of the Chickasaw Nation, and one of only 2 tribal members currently serving in Congress. He is considered the foremost expert in the House on Native American and tribal government issues. With pride in his heritage and an inherent responsibility to serve, it is the needs of and commitment to his constituents that has charted the course for Congressman Tom Cole.
Let all of us as Oklahomans honor Tom Cole.
Wow, what a night, what an honor. When you're fortunate enough to get an honor like this, obviously there's an awful lot of people to thank. And the first group's always your family. And certainly I've been blessed. I want to thank my wife and my son, Ellen and Mason, my brother and John and his wife, Crystal, who are also here. But I'm privileged, like a lot of people, to be part of a really big family. 6 generations of Chickasaws, and boy, are they here in force tonight. And 5, you bet, I'm very proud of them. And 5 of Scotch-Irish settlers that were pretty tough themselves, and they arrived out here on the frontier in Oklahoma. But most of all, like everybody here, I want to thank my mom and dad. My dad, John, my late mother, Helen, especially. Any good that I ever accomplished, anything I was ever privileged to do, all began with them, and I'm so grateful for them, and so sorry they're not here tonight. But you know, in this business, friends and colleagues make a lot of difference too along the way. And I was very fortunate to have amazing partners, Debbie Snodgrass, Sharon Caldwell, Pat McFerrin. All of those people did more to build the business, I think, than I did. And you always have, again, friends and political associates along the way. A lot of them are here tonight. Clinton and Tracy Key, my good friend Kim Alfano, personal friends like Ron and Sarah Poole, and Monty and Sandra Bivens that I played football with, both those guys 50 years ago. So it's wonderful to have those kind of folks in your life. And I've had an unbelievably great staff, and they're here in force tonight too. You can't name all, yeah, go ahead, you can cheer yourselves. I mean, they do it all the time. But they really are good. You can't name them all, but I've had a succession of unbelievable chiefs of staff in a variety of positions. Pam Warren, when I was privileged to be governor's Keating Secretary of State. In my personal congressional office, Leslie Belcher, Pete Kirkham, and Sean Murphy, all been unbelievable, and Susan Ross in my capacity on the Appropriations Commission. So just really great people. And of course, I've had some great bosses. Some really great bosses. First guy that ever gave me a job, the late Harold Hunter, who's the uncle of our current Attorney General, was the state Republican Party chairman. I thought I was going there for a year, and I never went back to academic life after that, quite frankly. Congressman Mickey Edwards, who was my boss when he was a congressman. The late Congressman Guy Vanderjack, who was head of the NRCC. Jim Nicholson, who was chairman, of the Republican National Committee when I was fortunate enough to be there. But my best bosses, my favorite bosses of all, were Governor Frank Keating and First Lady Kathy Keating, and what an honor it was for me to serve with them. You know, there's an old saying in politics, we got a lot of politicians here, so they'll know it pretty well. Everybody knows somebody doesn't like them, only politicians get an exact count. So, you know, I've been Fort Brown in a lifetime of elections. I've been lucky to win a lot more than I lost, although I see Governor Nye out there, and he took all 77 counties from us the time that I was in the campaign against him. Never did that ever again. But, you know, at the end of the day, the people who've really determined my fate, and probably the fate of all of us that are privileged to be up here today, are really the people of Oklahoma, you know, particularly in my case, the voters of Oklahoma. I've had the privilege of being on the ballot 9 times for either state or federal office. Each time my fellow Republicans have given me the privilege of representing them in the general election. Each time the good and great and decent people of Oklahoma have given me the honor to go on and serve them in either state or federal office. And I am grateful for that confidence, and I never take it lightly. But, you know, an honor like this is a challenge as well as an accolade. And it's something I will do my very best to live up to as long as I'm privileged to hold office and to serve the people of Oklahoma, and thanks to them, the people of the United States. Thank you again, Oklahoma Hall of Fame, for this unbelievable honor. It's a privilege for me to be here.
Going to be real careful what I say now, following a politician. Man, that's a nice man. He's represented all the Oklahoma folks very, very well. It's always great.